Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, football, baseball, and sports fans of all ages. This is Dylan, host of the Big D podcast, Funky Spectrum Sports. To my over here, Mr. Adam, who may become the next head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and down here is Mr. Connor Bedard. No, that's all Bear fan. Ken the Bear fan. Talking on the Spunky Spectrum Sports, driving the top production, and too many other sites, Twitch, Facebook, the Twitter, a lot of places. We're going to be talking NFL Division Round, Championship Sunday, College Football Playoff, and something else, something a little different. I thought we'd get the brains involved. So, guys, have you recovered from the weekend?
It's still freezing here, so no.
Yeah, kind of.
Just want to let everyone know, Jeremy will not be joining us tonight. Unfortunately, his uncle is in the final hospice phase. He just called me.
Wish him all the best.
Hey, good evening, Snoop. Snoop Von Poop in the. There you go. You want to talk about a good Bears fan?
Evening,
There's
sir.
a good Bears fan for you, Snoop.
Well, you know what?
And I have nothing against your Bears, but I could have not taken another weekend of Russ Tucker sucking Caleb Williams off. I could not do it. Oh my gosh, that Sirius Radio comment. Oh my, that was awful. Awful.
Well, Aaron Miller is the former Bears quarterback, so I mean, yeah,
it was worse than Chris Collinsworth. It was so bad.
I mean, I'll wait for us to get there, but man, I'll tell you what. Yeah, it's talking about recovering. I'm still recovering from the weekend. All right, cool. Yeah, let me know, Snoop. Just send me a line. I'm sure I can fit into my burgeoning schedule.
Well,
I am still recovering from the weekend, man. That was. I'll tell you what. You know what, Adam. More than anything, I think heart doctors across America are happy the Bears lost because there was probably an uptick in cardiac infarctions and everything else. Geez, did that team put you through a cardiac arrest every week or what?
Well, I must say, Ken, watching the Bears. The Chicago Bears made football interesting, and despite the loss, I think we saw what Caleb and the Bears could do. I mean, if the throw to Romaduse was insane, what was the throw to Cole Kmet from the 40-yard line?
It was only a 16-yard pass.
Technically, Adam. Did you see the play, Adam? Did you see the play?
Yeah, he went backward 90 yards. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, look, so you know what, though? Let me tell you something about that play, though. Any other quarterback in a Bears jersey hears Bears fans as he's drifting back, going, well, that's the game, guys. Turn it off, click. Because in the past, that was going to either be a sack or the ball was just going to get thrown out of bounds, right? Caleb is so fast as a quarterback, and we've heard this all season, right, about his speed with the ball. He sprints back 15, 20 yards just so he can get a better look downfield and has the arm strength to hit Cole in the back corner of the end zone like that. I mean, dude, he's a different kind of guy.
There was some bad defense there, Ken.
I mean, the coverage was actually pretty good. I mean, Cole Kmet did what he should do. He saw his quarterback in trouble, and then he got himself to an open area, and the coverage on that wasn't bad. It's not that, Cole kind of went, well, I'm going to go on the inside. Nope, sorry, I'm going to the back corner. And by that time, the guy who was on him kind of had already bit to go inside, and that created the separation. But, dude, all Cole needed, I don't even think Cole needed to worry about the separation. He would have made the catch if the guy was on him more than anyways, because Cole's a bit bigger. I like how Caleb, says, like, well, I got Cole. He's like a 6-foot-something big tight end, whatever he is. And he's against a little guy in the back corner. So, yeah, I put the ball there.
It sounded like a hell of a play on the radio, but I just couldn't have taken another week. I just couldn't have taken another week of that. Oh my, that was Ken. I want you to go back and seriously listen to the Sirius XM pod, like play by play of that game. You might go, what the hell?
Look, I won't complain. You know why? Because for so many years, it's been how dog crap the dogs are, or the Bears are, how bad they are, and how they don't have a chance, and blah blah blah. So to hear you complain that the Bears are getting a little too much love on a Sirius XM call, to me is welcome.
No, I'm
Because
serious.
for
Go
years we've
listen
been
to
told
it.
how we can't do anything. Our quarterback can't make a throw. He can't do this. He can't do that. Caleb, the Bears can't do this. The Bears can't do that. I get what you're saying, like, but dude, get off his knob. But they've been on his knob in the wrong way all of last year. Oh, Caleb's gonna be a bust. Caleb can't
That
do anything.
breaking news. When did that happen?
That must be just
Literally in the last 20 minutes, Mike McDaniel has just been hired as the LA Chargers new offensive coordinator.
that's huge.
And I think I tweeted, and I don't know if I tweeted or posted somewhere, the LA Chargers I think I put it in our Twitter chat that the LA Chargers win the AFC West in 2026.
Well, and Hafley has got a Green Bay because he took McDaniel's job there in Miami.
And Robert Saleh's the head
Saleh, I'm not
coach.
surprised by Saleh, dude, because you look at all the injuries on that 49er defense, and they go as far as they did with the duct tape and bubble gum, which fell apart this weekend. I mean, the duct tape and bubble gum gave away. The whole vehicle finally, like a cartoon, just the doors fell off, the wheels fell off, the engine hit the ground. I mean, but what Saleh did with that defensive unit, with the injuries and everything, you knew he was going to get a job. I mean, like the Jets,
The
even with the
loss of
Jets,
Fred
like he made
Warner
the
that
Jets
early
more.
too.
He made the Jets more competitive than they probably should have been when he was the head coach there. So I'm not surprised that Saleh got a job.
So I mean, looking at these games this weekend, Bills Broncos probably the most impactful game. What did you all think of that game?
Dude, it's not about the game, it's about the post game where I'm like, what the fuck? Post game. Bo Nix fractured his ankle. Really? When? Oh, the second to last play. I don't know about you guys, but I've watched the last couple plays of that game over and over and over again. I'm not seeing it, but whatever. And then the reaction.
He didn't look in great
Buffalo,
pain. He didn't look in great pain for having a.
Yeah, I'll read that comment in a minute. And then like the reaction for Buffalo. Oh, fire McDermott. Whoa, talking sports. I think you should stop playing as a Chicago fan because the Cubs won the World Series 10 years ago. In the World Series, the world's been a mess since they won. But I digress. Not to mention the Pope is from Chicago. Ironically, the Bears were good. No, I'm not complaining, Derp. Derpy, I love that. I'm not complaining. I'm actually. It's nice. The Bears have been getting crapped on all season. They were underdogs in all but 2 games this year. Like so, to hear Adam complain that he's getting too much love on the radio, I'm happy that's finally happening. That tells you things are going right in Chicago.
It was like overly done, very overly done.
I'm good with that, Adam.
I understand that, but I mean, it was just like, Ken, I'm telling you, just go listen to some of it. You might go, wow, what the hell?
I mean, Jim Miller is a Chicago homer. I mean, Jim Miller's a former,
Tucker, though. It wasn't
Bears
Miller.
quarterback. I
Well-
get it, but no. But back to the Bills thing. Sorry, we got sidetracked. The reaction to the post, then like the Bills fire McDermott over it. I'm like, dude, how about you fire your GM? Oh no, he can't get. He's bust on 50 of his 53 players he drafted were a complete bust. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna promote him. Like, what the hell is going on in Buffalo? Buffalo just closed their Super Bowl window on themselves.
Yeah, but even Jamie was talking. I know Dylan wants to mention something, but like even Jamie and Joe said like it's getting around that time, like Super Bowl or bust. I mean, even they were saying it. So
But McDermott wasn't the problem. Bean was the problem. Dylan, how many of his picks hit in Buffalo? Like 2 or 3? Yeah. And so what's the answer? Fire the super popular head coach that the locker room loves, and promote the guy who can't bring in talent for shit.
Well,
Like, how did that become the answer?
well, here's what I think happened in Buffalo. Sean McDermott's a really good coach. I think we all would say that. He went 90-50, 8-8 in the playoffs. But it's not it's not how many times a team loses in the playoffs, wins or loses in the playoffs. It's by what method. The Bills have lost 4 games by 15 points. They've lost games. The Bills have lost games with 13. The 13-second game against Kansas City, missing field goals at home, controversial calls in an AFC Championship game, and Bo Nix outdueling Josh Allen in Denver.
And that goes
Eventually, everybody needs a change. The Tampa Bay Bucks were really good in 2001.
right, but then they made the trade for Gruden. Buffalo didn't make a trade for him when they just fired McDermott. Now what are they going to do?
That's what killed the Bills. No trade for a wide receiver before the deadline.
Bingo. And I even questioned. I think it was the Brandon Beane saying, "Well, Bills don't need wide receivers." Well, then why didn't the Bills draft a wide receiver in the draft or make a trade for Jacoby Myers or Shaheed? We all watched the 49ers Seahawks game. She took the opening kickoff back to the house. You think he would have worked well in Buffalo?
I mean, well, like Buffalo, I think Derpy's comment's good too. His 2-part comment there, partially in the Bears, and then the second piece to Adam. That was the interesting part about that, though, right? Is like with the Bills, their quarterback, like he took accountability for that game. He's on the podium crying. He's like, "I screwed this up. This is on me. This hasn't been like in the past where I did everything you could honestly ask him to do, and the defense let them score. I am the one who screwed up our chance to win this game," right? So their quarterback is taking full accountability of the game, and what do the Bills do? To fire their head coach. Now, Derpy, to the rest part of your comment there, no one's blaming Ben Johnson in Chicago or even Caleb. In fact, more people are blaming DJ Moore than anything, which I think is a little unfair, given that his quarterback came out and said, "Look, it was miscommunication, right? I want him to go flat. He was going up top." That's something we'll work in the offseason. It's a learning point. And you know what? Caleb is 100% right. But then when you go back to this Bills thing, I mean, dude, like the quarterback takes accountability for it, is crying on the podium like, "I screwed this up. This loss is squarely on me, your Messiah. I was not your Messiah today." And then they turn around, they fire the head coach. And yeah, I mean, if they would have made that trade, Dylan, you're right. I think that might help them. But then what does that do? But then that just exacerbates this point even more. If Bean had made the trade for a wide receiver at the deadline, maybe their season's better. Maybe the Messiah has someone to throw to, right? Besides Keon Coleman, who I love Keon Coleman, don't get me wrong, but he's had an up and down sophomore season, right? So what's the reaction in Buffalo? Fire McDermott because we're dumb, and we're gonna fail up with our GM who screwed the pooch on draft picks, failed to get the team what it needed to succeed, but we're going to promote him to president of football operations.
But here's what I would also say. Sometimes a team needs to make an aggressive move. The Pittsburgh Steelers don't make it, and Cincinnati Bengals don't make aggressive moves. I'll say this: the Chicago Bears made an aggressive move getting Ben Johnson. It worked out beautifully.
Yeah, but what were we moving? Yeah, but we were moving on from Eberflus. Can't win a game. Doesn't know how many timeouts he has. Doesn't know how to manage a clock. Can't manage a locker room. Can't talk to the press. Eberflus. They had Dylan McDermott, or they had Dylan McDermott. They had McDermott. They have one of the best coaches in the AFC, or maybe even possibly the NFL. He's probably in the top 10, right? He's a great coach. The locker room loves him. This quarterback loves him. And look at, so it's not like you had, a losing season. You've been a highly successful club. You're not taking a big swing by promoting up for failure with your GM, and now you're firing your head coach. And who are you going to get to replace? I mean, there's some decent candidates out there, but are any of them better than McDermott?
Look, they worded it right, though. They worded it right why they let go of McDermott. They said, we couldn't get to the Super Bowl, and that's why we're letting you go. Now I'm sitting there going, wait, we had Ben, Bell, and Brown and didn't make any Super Bowls. So maybe the Steelers could have used that excuse back in 15 or 16.
Well, 17. I mean, I'll admit this, Adam. How the Jaguars beat Pittsburgh when it was 15 degrees outside is beyond me, but that's a story for another day.
You know what? I mean, okay, Adam. Yes, you're right. They worded it right, but it comes down to the replacement theory on this, right? Like, what's the replacement going to be? Like, for instance, let me back you up for Chicago, using Chicago as an example. Justin Fields. Dude, all 3 years in Chicago, he grew exponentially. Every year he improved. And it came time, do we keep him or do we draft Caleb? And as you guys all know, famously, very split fan base in Chicago over, do we keep Fields or do we draft Caleb, right? Poles made the big move. That's the big move he made, Dylan, is he traded out Justin Fields for a bologna sandwich and an orange drink container. And he drafted Caleb. And look how that's paid off. And then, Justin, I still love Justin. I think Justin is just
I think if they would have built around Justin, I think he would have the same results.
Maybe, but I mean, we're all seeing Caleb's built a little bit different. Like, he's a different level than you could tell from day one. He was going to be better than Justin. He's got a higher ceiling. I love Justin, don't get me wrong, but Caleb's a better quarterback. But there you had a replacement, because the argument I was making back then is you don't get rid of Justin unless you feel that Caleb is as good as Justin is now and or has a higher ceiling. Well, same thing for me would go in this McDermott move. Like, you don't fire your head coach now unless you think you can find one that's comparable or better in the open market to take his place to get you to the Super Bowl. My question is who's out there that's comparable or better than McDermott right now to coach this Buffalo team and get him?
Maybe Brian Dable. I mean, Brian Dable and Josh Allen worked wonders 2020, 21. Brian Dable
sucked in New York.
No. Well, let me explain. Brian Dable's won more playoff games with Daniel Jones as his quarterback than Justin Herbert in Los Angeles.
I just read. Well, Rich told me something earlier too. If the Rams win this year, the Super Bowl, Sean McVay is retiring.
Wouldn't that be something? That's open up another huge job.
And then Rich is like, how much would? Well, I don't know if Rich is joining us or not. He was helping his wife bring in groceries because apparently Texas is going to be in the freezing state, and for the next couple of days, so they went shopping. But Rich was telling me that like what happens to why Stefanski and Harbaugh, are they going to be kicking themselves if the Rams do win and McVay retires?
I don't think.
I think Harbaugh
could have been roommates.
I think Harbaugh is actually the right guy for New York, and New York's right for him. Stefanski with the Ravens, dude, he's got a team that he can win with now.
You mean the Falcons?
Or the Falcons? I'm sorry. Yeah. And the Rams.
No, what did I miss?
You can't wait for the possibility. If you're Stefanski, he's like, I can take the Atlanta job now, or if I'm Harbaugh, I can take the New York job now, or wait to see if possibly McVay wins the Super Bowl, and then wait to see if he actually retires. I mean, you take the job now, so I get that, but I mean, dude, who's out there? Like now,
I have not heard. I've not heard a peep on Sean McVay retiring. I don't think he would anyway.
He's so young. Why would he retire?
Yeah, I think he's only like 45, 46, ain't he?
McVay's going to turn 40.
Young. He ain't retired.
Although
that's what Rich was telling me on the phone earlier. So I
like to see where Rich heard that. I like to see where Rich heard.
I haven't heard it from Shefty, from Rappaport, from Glazer, anyone.
Yeah. So, like if you're the Bills, who are you looking at for head coach? Dable? Yeah, great. I mean, Dylan, what you said about him is why I said he might go back to Buffalo as the OC this year before the firing happened.
I mean,
I don't see
Romo-
Dable as a head coach for a couple years. Matt Nagy's interesting considering that, well, that's the other news. Matt Nagy's out in Kansas City because he wants a head coaching job. So Kansas City said, well, we're not going to wait around to see if we're going to get one. And they went and took my running backs coach and hired him today. And Bieniemy, look, we kind of knew that would happen with Bieniemy. And I think it's good for Bieniemy. Wish him nothing for the best. So now Nagy, like, dude, he could be a good head coach for Buffalo, possibly. He's very creative. Look at the backup quarterback, knows him really well, unfortunately, maybe.
What about the ball?
But I mean, that could be a good fit as long as Nagy has a good DC, which there are a lot of DC and OC openings right now. Oh my God, in this league. Dude, this year's coaching frenzy is worse than last year.
What about Brian Dable as the head coach, Matt Nagy as the OC?
No, offensive guy doesn't work that well. I really don't. I think you got to have a defensive guy with Nagy or Dable as the OC, to be honest. And that's a good counterbalance. Look at the Bears like they did with Ben Johnson and Allen. Offensive guy, and then a big-time DC.
No, I mean, what if the Bears have Dable as the head coach, but Matt Nagy as the OC?
The Bills,
both of them run the offense, and then let's just say, for hypothetical purposes, the Bills get Brian Flores as their DC. Not saying they will, but
I mean, in a situation like that, sure, if you're going to Dan Campbell it for coaching, like that's something you do that if you don't want if you hire one of those guys to be the head coach, but you don't want them to call the offense, but you like them as a coach, then yeah, you do the Dan Campbell thing, right? Because Dan Campbell does not design good plays. He's not a good play caller, but he's a phenomenal motivator, head coach. He sets the table well for his team in terms of what they need to do football culture wise and everything else, but he's not a good play caller, right? I mean, that's firmly been established throughout his career so far. So yeah, if you go, hey, Dable, we like your moxie, we like you as a head coach, but we don't like you as an offensive play caller, then yeah. Or maybe you do the same thing with Matt Nagy. Hey, we love you as a coach, but not a play caller, so we want to bring in Dable. Yeah, that's doing the Dan Campbell is what you're doing there.
I agree with Yinzer on this one. I am not feeling Mike McCarthy as our coach.
You know what happens if you hire McCarthy? You get another year of Aaron Rodgers. That's the only way I think Aaron Rodgers stays in Pittsburgh.
Honestly, Adam, here's what the Steelers should do. I think the Steelers should be bad, get one of the quarterbacks in 2027, and basically trade TJ Watt, these guys, be bad in 26, and get one of these young quarterbacks and go at it the next year. Go get a young offensive line.
Will Howard can do, though. I still want to see what Will Howard
can do.
No,
Will Howard is not a starting quarterback.
I mean, look, you got DK. They got some pieces, though. They got DK, and he's not, punching fans. Here's the problem with them. I mean, that's not how it's going to work for them, Dylan. And I think, honestly, Flores is the guy that needs to go there. I think Flores, the only team that he'll give up his lawsuit with the NFL for is Pittsburgh. Right? Because, look, here's the thing. If you're Flores and you've got 3 years invested into this lawsuit against the NFL, are you going to nuke your case, take a job in Cleveland? No. But do you nuke it to go to Pittsburgh where these guys on average keep their coaches for at least 15 years? Yeah. I mean, think about it. What's the shortest tenured coach in Pittsburgh? I mean, the one who just left had 19. Cowher had 15, 16 years. The guy before him had over a decade. You guys have had 3 or 4 coaches in 50 years.
I mean, do you want to go back? We had a guy named McNally, which I don't know if he's related to me or not, but we had a guy named McNally who coached I think 6 games or some shit.
Yeah, but that's not recent history. I mean,
no. The first 40 years,
you're going to get at least
40 years of this franchise was a nightmare.
I mean, if you're Flores, and we all know Flores is a good coach, he's going to get 6 or 7 years minimum in Pittsburgh. So I think that's a team he might nuke his case for, but Flores is interesting because he's a free agent. His case hasn't been, they're waiting on arbitration. I doubt arbitration happens between now and the Super Bowl. I doubt it happens between now and the draft. It might happen this summer. I think he's going to be a DC somewhere for a year and let this case finish off. He's a free agent, by the way. Minnesota could still retain him as their DC for a year or two. But I think people are waiting to see. But like but I'm still mind boggled by Buffalo. Like you have a great coach. Now what's McDermott gonna do? He might end up in Vegas now. Like if I'm Vegas, I'm thinking, wait, McDermott's free and I've got the number 1 pick in the draft. And maybe I bring in Dable to be his OC.
Bingo.
And now I got the number 1 pick in the draft, which I'm taking the quarterback. I've got McDermott and I've got Dable, who did everything with Josh Allen.
And $100 million in cap space.
And $100 million in cap space. Let's go, boys. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
By the way, I've got one question for both of you fellas. Did you think that the Cooks McMillan play was an interception? Because the more and more I looked at it, it looked like a pick.
The what?
The Cooks McMillan play.
No, it was a 50-50 ball, and they give the right to the receiver. It doesn't matter.
Except for the Bears game where they gave it to the Rams.
His knee was down, and he made a football move. They were saying.
I mean, I'm not Dylan. Look, in one game it went one way, in the other game, damn near the exact same scenario goes the other way. You know what it is with the refs. I mean, that's the human element of the game, and it's there, and I'm fine with it. I mean, you get pissed off in the moment, but you know what? When you look at the aggregate, it ends up usually coming out in the wash. There's that human element of the game. The referees are part of the game, for good or not.
But they wouldn't even look at it. They wouldn't even look at that play.
So that part there kind of irks me, because they're going to look at some dinky little do-nothing play, but you're not going to look at that. I mean, that's where I think there's a legitimate issue. Like, come on, NFL. Like, and it's not something where I could throw a coach's challenge maybe because of the time situation. You have to look at that play. You can. And
it was a turnover, so they should have looked at it extra little bit.
And then sometimes they look at a play before the coach even throws the challenge flag out. But then, like the Bears-Packers game, like LaFleur, before you even got the flag out, we instant reviewed it. Like, wait a minute, I mean, you weren't going to make them challenge it? That wasn't something that you should be instant reviewing. But they did anyway. So I think the snap review, whatever you want to call it in New York, is not applied fairly in the NFL. Like, if you want to be like the VAR system in soccer, then fucking do it. But if you're going to pick and choose which ones you instant replay out and look at in New York, that's bullshit. Like, do it all or only do it when asked. And you should do it all in the final 2 minutes when a coach can't throw a challenge. I just think the way they apply that is jacked up.
By the way, Ken, you might disagree with me, but would you agree? You might disagree with me, but how efficient were the Rams? I mean, 1 penalty, no turnovers. I don't think they had a single drop in that ice bowl.
So both teams were very efficient penalties, which for the Bears, by the way, is monumental considering they are the most penalized team in the NFL before the playoffs. In the playoffs, they had very few, like a handful. That was the thing. Is like the Bears didn't generate turnovers. They came close, but they didn't generate turnovers, and that's something we were very good at in the regular season, and we got zero of in the postseason. Look at that game with the Rams. What a great freaking game by both teams. Even with Caleb having 3 picks, the Bears were in it, right? The Bears were 10 yards away from a game-winning field goal, being down 2-0 in the turnover chart. I think what you're seeing a Bears team that, first off, you need to watch out for as Caleb keeps growing. But I think the Rams played a very good game, and they had a tough task, and they know they got out there. They got lucky. They got a Caleb that's still learning versus a polished Caleb, who would be like a more of a guy who's been around for a lot longer, learned some things. They got a quarterback who's still learning, and they got a win out of that. Because I think Caleb learned, like, I don't have to go to DJ. I can go for the safe, easy 10-yarder on that play because he could have, but he went for the dagger. Like, dude, it's overtime. Just go for the field goal. That's part of a learning curve for him and for DJ, who, by the way, this was DJ Moore's first year ever on a winning program since high school.
That's nuts.
That's crazy, isn't it? So a lot of learning by this Bears team. And I thought they handled themselves pretty well. I thought the Rams were pretty efficient in terms of not turning the ball over and not getting penalized. Both teams were good on the penalty side. Stafford, didn't look to be 100% like I thought he wouldn't be. I think the weather affected his hand a little bit more than he would care to admit. But that's Stafford. Of course he's not going to admit it. But he had some balls that kind of got away from him, almost threw a pick or two that way. But no, they acquitted themselves very well. Look, that was a great game by both teams. Take nothing away from either team. That was the best football game of the weekend, probably, and you can see why they made it the flagship game of the weekend on Sunday Night Football in America. I mean, and you know what? They got their money's worth out of it. What an exciting game.
How excited are you about Monangai?
For a 7th-round pick. So the funny thing about Monangai, 750-plus yards this year on the ground. The Bears were the only team in the NFL that have both the running backs over 750 yards this year. Swift had over 1,000. Monangai had like 770, 780. So around there. And he was a 7th-round pick. Dude, Brian Poles, home run. That's a home run pick right there. And now look, I need to preface this because I saw this today on an article. Because, now that we're out, they're going to start looking at the roster. And people are like, well, Swift could get cut because Monangai was so good. No, exactly, Bill. And that was why I was like, no, it's a two-headed monster. You need Swift and Monangai.
It's like Johnson when he was in Detroit.
Yeah.
Gibbs and Montgomery.
Monangai, look, you know what, though? I think that Roschon Johnson's off this team. Like, Roschon, I think, had 2 carries all year. And, I had high hopes for him. Because, he was Bijan's backup at Texas, put up great numbers as a backup. He probably would have been a starter at any other big, Division I school in the country. But unfortunately, he went with Bijan, who was like generational. And I thought, okay, yeah, Roschon's going to have a good career in Chicago. And dude hasn't done jack. So I can see the Bears cutting him, trading him. I don't think he's on the roster next year. I think the Bears, though, at minimum, you're going to have Swift, you're going to have Monangai, and they'll see if they can draft another guy. Does Rutgers have another running back available? I'll draft them.
I don't know. 7th-round Rutgers running backs have done pretty well the last 4 or 5 years. By the way, Ken, I think you would agree with me. I think the Bears may look to trade DJ Moore in the offseason, but Chicago's got to get faster on defense. Defense got to get pass rush, linebackers, DBs. But I'll say this. Dennis Allen coached a whale of a game coming after Stafford for some sacks. Maybe not the turns, but that was a really well-coached game from Dennis Allen.
In terms of DJ, there would be some cap relief, but I don't think the Bears do anything with their skill players offensively. I think you're going to see although DJ will be back, Rome will be back, obviously Burden will be back. Zacchaeus was on a 1-year deal. I don't know if he comes back. Komet will be back. Colson will be back. Our running, the 2 running backs we just talked about will be back. The entire starting offensive line will be back. Defensively, though, interesting because you saw Brisker and Spidey have big games, and they look like I haven't seen these. Brisker and Gordon haven't looked this good together at least since last year. At some point, they need some work on defense on the line, but honestly, like we still have one of the best secondaries in the league, and when you saw the difference with Brisker and Gordon when they're both healthy, and now you add C.J. Gardner-Johnson to that mix. None of our safeties are under contract to include Brisker. So Brisker will come back. I think at least 2 of the 4 will come back of the safeties.
He had 7 interceptions?
What now?
He had 7 interceptions. Was that him?
Who, Brisker? No. No, Brisker.
Your other guy did.
1.
The other guy did.
Yeah, Byard had 7. Byard will come back. Defensively, the problem's not in the secondary. Like, we need to re-sign guys that were in our secondary, honestly. They're going to be looking at linebackers, primarily linebackers, I think. Because even though Grady Jarrett didn't get to the quarterback a lot, like, there's a lot of great things he did for this defense. I think they're going to look to shore up the linebacking core. And we had some good backups in the linebacking core. It showed some promise, but I think that's where you're going to see the Bears maneuver is defensive line and linebacking core. And they're going to have to re-sign some, obviously, some safeties. and you'll see maybe a safety in the draft. But offensively, I'll take the Bears. You might see them draft offensive line, to grow, right? To grow and make and keep that rotation strong. But I think the Bears' primary focus this year is on defense. But you saw what that defense is capable of with the healthy guys. And I'm not surprised that Brisker and Gordon had a big game. They used to have games like that. We didn't see that all year because they were both, hurt at one point or another. They were only together at full speed for like 3 games this year. You know what's funny about Gordon? When Gordon was in the games this year, the Bears were ranked in the top 10 defensively. I think they were actually ranked number 6. When Gordon did not play, they were ranked like 27. That's massive. So, but I think, yeah, you're right. They're going to look for some speed at the linebacking position. I think Booker is growing at the other side of defensive end. I think you're going to Booker and Sweat are your starters. I think the guy we signed last year, Deo, he's going to start the year on PUP, and they'll never activate him off the IR, and they'll free up $20 million right there for him. So there are some things with Edwards being hurt, right? With Edmonds always do that. Big contract. He's going to start the year in the PUP. He may never come back off the PUP either. He may never get reactivated. That saves the Bears like another $20 million. So the Bears, they got a little more wiggle room than people think, but I think it's going to be linebacking core and the trenches is what they're looking at most. And they're going to re-sign the second.
Okay.
I've got. Is Fernando Mendoza the 101 based on what happened last night? Because I've got to think he is.
I haven't really dug into the draft stuff yet, so I'll kind of defer to you guys. But from what I'm seeing and hearing everywhere, and from the morning show, I got my buddy Joe, who's a diehard Raider fan, lives in their Substacks. The feeling in Raider Nation is Mendoza is going to be the number 1 pick. He will be a Vegas Raider next year.
That's what I think. I think Mendoza's 101. I think he'll be Jeff Burrow 2.0.
I think the bigger question in Vegas isn't do we take the quarterback? It's where are we getting the coach of the quarterback? Like, honestly, that's where Raider fans are. They know they're taking him at number 1. Their question is who's the coach going to be? And if it's a McDermott Dable thing, I think if I spring that, in fact, I'm going to ask Joe that tomorrow morning what he would think of that. I think Joe will light up like a Christmas tree at that possibility, to be honest with you.
It's not the worst idea.
Yeah, I'll start looking at the draft stuff probably in a couple weeks, to be honest with you. I like to wait for the Super Bowl to be done. Then I like to wait for like the first week of free agency, and then I don't even want to even do a mock draft until like the 5th or 6th day of free agency. That's when I start looking at the draft.
Well, my team doesn't have a first-round pick, so I don't know. I won't even know what's happening. But
I mean, the GM's already working on it, but that's why I'm not a GM. I'll have to deal with it, right? Adam and I, we're not GMs. We can sit there and go, we don't care what our team does at number 1 until 5 days after free agency. Because you know what happens? Last year for the Bears, when the season was over,
hold on. Well, since Khan took over, we've been signing free agents, so it's a different world in Pittsburgh lately.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I was getting to. Like last year for the Bears, like when the season was over, I was like, yeah, we didn't spend our first 3 picks on offensive linemen. And then what the Bears go do? Sign Dahlman, make a couple trades, rebuilt the entire offensive line without the draft. And so it's like when we came to the draft, I was like, well, let's take a tight end, then we'll take a quarter, then we'll take a wide receiver. We'll take an offensive lineman with our 3rd pick in the draft. Like completely not what we were thinking in Chicago because as fans, free agency changes everything, doesn't it, with the draft? Like we're sort of thinking, oh yeah, our team needs an offensive line. Then they go out and sign one. Well, I guess not. So why am I going to do a mock draft before free agency? It's just a waste of time.
To create conversation, Ken. That's where we got to be creative in our thinking. That's why we do this. We don't do it because we want to wait. We do it because we feel it's a good time to talk about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll talk about it a little bit, but for me personally, I like to wait till after a couple days of free agency because that changes the entire landscape for your team sometimes. So, like,
Well,
I like to wait a little bit before I start my speculation, I guess. But there are some things like for the Raiders, yeah, Mendoza's number one unless somehow Josh Allen gets traded to him or something. I mean, that's what it would take, right? Like, if you're the Raiders, how do you not take Mendoza? Well, you don't take Mendoza number one if you get Josh Allen falls in your lap somehow, or Lamar Jackson, or yeah, you get some big time franchise quarterback somehow falls in your lap. That's the only way you don't draft Mendoza number one.
I mean,
Like, what? Are you going to take a tight end or a running back?
You could take Mendoza as a backup in that role and let him learn like Green Bay did with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love.
No, because Mendoza at number one makes $10 million a year out the gate, whereas at 23 or 24, where Love was, he makes like $3 or $4 million. I mean, that's a huge dollar difference to pay. Like,
no, I was just saying the teaching effort though. Yeah. If like Allen went to the Raiders.
Oh no, I agree with that. I'm like, if you got Josh Allen and you still drafted Mendoza, for example, yeah, you would do that. But look at I mean,
or you trade that first round pick, get many picks after that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the only way I think Mendoza doesn't end up in like Vegas is like Josh Allen demands a trade to Vegas to follow McDermott.
On the mall.
I mean, so once you got outside,
I think Allen would be a better fit in Vegas, though.
I like to see him in silver and black.
That would be a stupid division with Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, and Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And now with this fracture, is Bo Nix even going to be ready to go by opening day next year?
No, I don't think so. And
I think suffered a similar injury, and Oregon should be okay.
And that was the same thing in Indy. Like Indiana Jones is not going to be ready to start the season. Probably they're going to need a quarterback for the first couple of weeks too.
I've got a trivia question for you guys, and if you go get this, I will be impressed with you. If you think of this day being inauguration day, I'm gonna send your minds back to a certain game. So, if you know me, you know what genre of music I like, and you may be able to get this one. Which country music superstar sang the national anthem before the 2005 NFC Championship game in Seattle? Do you guys want a hint?
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
Yes, she is very much alive.
How about a little hint?
This woman was famous for a special event that happened on this very day. Not this year, obviously.
Okay, so we know it's a girl. We know it's a female.
I don't know country well enough, especially back in the early 2000s. I mean, who was big back then? Reba was still kind of big. Like
I was thinking Shania Twain for some reason.
She's not country, is she?
Yes, Shania's country.
I guess she's kind of pop country.
Shania did the halftime show in San Diego and saw the Bucks beat the Chiefs in Tampa.
Yeah, I don't.
But no, it's not Shania. She is not Canadian.
Faith Hill?
No.
Celine Dion or whatever her name is?
No. Celine Dion.
She's not country. Kelly Pickler wasn't even a thing yet, so we can't. Kelly
you're getting closer. Ken.
What was it an American Idol person?
Was it one of the judges?
Was it Kelly Clarkson?
No.
Was it Carrie Underwood?
Ooh, Carrie Underwood, that's a good one.
You suck.
Teamwork, Adam. Teamwork.
No, my next hint would have been she sang a cappella at Trump's inauguration.
Well, that would have given away.
Yeah,
That would have given away to that.
and she
That would have been your
killed it.
best hint. We would have had this answer in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Not even.
And you know what though? It's funny because today was 1 year, and you know what's funny? That moment with Carrie Underwood, and they're like, "Hey, the PA system is not working." Remember they're discussing. And all of a sudden, you hear her say, "I don't need music. Let's just go." And she turns to her crowd and says, "Y'all want to help me?" And she killed it. And that might have been the best rendition I think any of us have probably heard, and any kind of special event. Like she just. I mean, you got to think about that, man. Think about all the pressure, it's the inauguration. Then they're coming, you saying, "Oh, by the way, there's all these technical issues with the sound PA system, blah blah blah." Acting, so that just gives you more, and you know that millions of people, if not billions, are watching you. And she's like, "Yeah, whatever. We'll just do this a cappella. All right, let's go." And she was so nonchalant about it too, wasn't she? Like she was almost like, "You think this is an issue? All right, folks. Hey, if you know the words, let's go." And she killed it.
She did.
She killed it.
Hey, you know who else? You know who else does a good job with the anthem? The Jim Cornelius. What
Oh,
is this?
dude, I love when he does the anthem. People don't know the backstory on Corneliuson doing the national anthem at the game on Sunday. So first off, there's any type of big game in Chicago. Corneliuson, he's the most famous of the two because there's another guy, Wayne Messmer, for the Chicago Cubs, who's the other national anthem guy in Chicago for decades. But when the Blackhawks hosted the NHL All-Star game years ago, that's when the tradition of cheering for the anthem started, right? And then when Corneliuson got there, who, by the way, is operatically trained, and with his voice, oh my God, I've seen players move to tears. I remember a couple years ago, he did the Bears home opener. It was still when Garza was there and Cutler. And the players were holding the American flag on both sides of the field, right? And as he's singing the national anthem, he actually had Roberto Garza crying on the field. Like, that's how good he is. Corneliuson, man, that dude is something else. And he does that, and our flag was still there when he does that. You notice the big ring on his hand? That's the first Blackhawks Stanley Cup ring from 2010. He rotates them out. Sometimes he wears a 2010, sometimes he wears a 2013, but he's always wears at least one of his three Blackhawks Stanley Cup rings. But that dude, him and Wayne Messmer in Chicago, like those two are the most famous sports guys in Chicago that never played a sport in Chicago. Because Messmer has been the voice of the Cubs for the national anthem since, God, probably the 80s.
What about Harry Carey?
Carey never sang the national anthem. He was drunk and did a drunken version of "Take Me Out the Ballgame," which I love. But Messmer, though, the thing about him, though, with Messmer, he got stabbed in the neck like a ways back, and he had to take a year or two out and came back, and he's singing again. So, but yeah, Corneliuson, I love to see him do a Super Bowl. I would love to see him do a Super Bowl. In fact, if depending where the Bears build their stadium, if the Bears ever host a Super Bowl, he needs to be the one singing the national anthem for that Super Bowl in Chicago or Gary, wherever the stadium. That'd be phenomenal. That dude's awesome. And unfortunately, like, you don't really get the full effect of it when watching on TV. I mean, I'm sure when you guys watched the game Sunday, you could hear that the crowd was a little bit louder during the national anthem than normal. It wasn't just a bunch of people singing. You could hear cheering. Dude, you got to be at a game. Go to a Chicago Blackhawks game in Chicago. And when he sings the national anthem, you can't even hear him sing the national anthem on the PA. It's so loud. That's every game. And he's got a phenomenal voice, and you can't even hear him because they're cheering so loudly. So yeah, I thought that was awesome Sunday. I thought that was a good move by the Bears. Great move by the Bears. That dude's a legend. Yeah, so won't be seeing any of that this weekend.
Do you think there's a chance? Do you think there's a chance that Jarrett Stidham could beat Drake May and the Patriots?
Listen, there's always a chance because we didn't plan on Demaryius Thomas going 80 yards in overtime to beat us by Tim Tebow.
And
Rest
and
in peace.
and you know, as one of my Broncos fans on X like to say, friends on X like to say, this quarterback in the preseason had a 124 quarterback rating and put up some really nice numbers and looked really good. Now, granted, it was the preseason, but you know what? If you're New England, how do you prepare for him? You don't know what his tendencies are. He's a complete unknown. So you don't know what his tendencies are. Does he roll right? Does he roll left? How accurate is he on the run? You know, what are the things you can do to flush him? You don't know. So it's a little bit, in a way, an advantage for Denver because no one knows anything about this guy. If you're a
They could
defensive
look at the
coordinator,
2023 tapes. He did play in 2023. They could look over his tapes then. Just
but
saying.
that's like 2 years ago. I mean, that's ancient history in NFL terms. I mean, you have a little to go on, but not much, and you don't have much time to decipher that, considering you have 5 days to prep the game plan, practice it, and everything. I mean, I think it made the job a little bit harder on New England's defensive coordination team to figure out what they're going to implement. I think some things don't change, but yeah, I mean, and look at the guy could rise. We've seen guys rise to the occasion, and look at if he does, it's bad news. If he goes to a Super Bowl and let's say Denver wins the Super Bowl with their backup quarterback, do you now have a quarterback controversy in Denver next year?
No.
Are you sure? Quarterback winning Super Bowl, Bo Nix. There's going to be a controversy on some level if he wins the Super Bowl.
I'm sure it will be an interesting conversation, but
Yeah.
I think once Bo comes back, I don't think they're going to take it out of his hands.
I mean, Jeff Hostetler won Super Bowl 25, and of course Nick Foles, Philly Special, Super Bowl 52.
Well, let's go even more famous. You had the highest paid quarterback in the NFL get hurt in a game, and his backup came in and became a 6-ring champion with that franchise and won 7 overall.
Some guy named Tom Brady.
Yeah. And the guy he replaced was
Ken,
the highest
if
paid
Caleb
quarterback.
Williams got hurt and your backup came in and won the Super Bowl, would there be a controversy?
If
Nope.
Tyson Bagent came in, you know what? Knowing Chicago, yeah, there would be. Because there are fans who love Tyson Bagent in Chicago.
But I mean, in reality, would you
No, I
just
mean,
say that?
in reality, I agree with you. But if he wins the Super Bowl, and let's say, God forbid, he's Super Bowl MVP too, dude, it's kind of like hard to say, okay, back to the bench, kid. Yeah, thank you for being the Super Bowl MVP and winning us the Lombardi. Back to the bench. There would at least be an open discussion. So if that were to happen in Chicago with Bagent, let's say Caleb goes down in a divisional round game and Bagent were to come in and win the NFC Championship, win the Super Bowl, and be the Super Bowl MVP, yeah, there would be a very interesting discussion in Chicago. You'd have to. Because you wouldn't just go, hey, Tyson, thanks. I think what would happen, maybe you and I could agree on this. I think more likely is the Bears in that case would trade Bagent for a haul and avoid the controversy. And I think if that were to happen in Buffalo, they would trade that kid in a heartbeat and get a haul for him and avoid the controversy. I think fans would be okay with that. You know what I mean? Because then we could say, yeah, look at Nick Foles. I mean, and he did nothing afterwards. So there is some precedence. But, dude, if he wins the Super Bowl and is the MVP, man, it's just like, it's not like, oh, Bo's back this week, back to the bench, kid. Like, no, it's going to be a discussion. So, I mean, I can see both sides of it. That's going to make this weekend's game more interesting for sure. I'm really interested in this Rams Sea Chickens game. And now Charbonnet's out. Oof.
Dude, he looked like he fucked up his back pretty bad.
It's going to be a good game. That's a Super Bowl right there, boys. I think the Rams win the Super Bowl. Yeah.
I kind of want to know if this McVay thing's true, so I kind of want to see the Rams win it myself.
There's going to be some good games this weekend.
That'd be interesting to see who would get it.
Who would take over? Yeah.
Yeah, Ken, this is killing me. Like, okay, I see the strings on your shirt, but is there no cross things? Or is it just tucked in? Okay, all right. Whew. I was trying to look for my picture, but I forgot I saved them all to a memory card. But I have Bedard versus Crosby in the opening face-off of Bedard's rookie year.
Oh, nice. I hadn't bought
I
a
was
Hawks
there.
jersey
We
in a
lost.
while.
Penguins
And of
lost.
course, it's the 100th anniversary, so I got what's cool on the back of the jersey. It's got a little yellow tab that says 100, and you lift up the lip. It's got all the Stanley Cup years on it. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So,
where underneath the collar?
yeah, there's some stuff underneath the collar too, and this is a Fanatics jersey. So it's put it this way: I bought no jerseys when they were licensed by Adidas. Actually, that's not true. I got one. I got a Hawks black practice jersey, and it's a Chris Chelios one, so it wasn't even a current player. I got a closet full of Hawks sweaters, and they're almost all Reeboks. And it's kind of with the Bears too, mostly Reeboks. I don't like the Nike. Like I got 2 Caleb's and a Rome, but I don't like the Nike. I like the Reeboks are just better jerseys.
I think you should go back to 91, 92 and get an Eddie Belfour jersey.
I got one. I got a Belfour
with the Stanley Cup patch on it.
No, not Stanley Cup patch. I got a white Belfour. I got a Tony Amante, and I got a.
But I thought that was one of. I thought that I love the fact that Eddie Belfour was in goal for you guys.
I got a Belfour and a Amante and a Chelly all in white in that time period, and then I got the Chelly practice. So
my buddy got the Flurry in red. He's like, I got to get my collection now.
I don't buy any jersey in white because the second I do, like I can wear this thing and go eat barbecue, go eat the sloppiest food on the planet, and not a drop will get on it. I put a white jersey on and ketchup flies from across the house and hits me. I'm like, dude, I'm not even eating anything. How do I get a ketchup stain? That's why I don't buy white jerseys anymore. Like that, the ward you got behind you, dude. If I owned that jersey, it'd be a glass. In fact, hold on. Let me show you where my white jerseys are now. They get cases really quick because if I don't, they're gonna get stained even faster. So, yeah, if it's a white jersey in my house, it usually means it's signed and it's going in a case.
Hey, Ken, Willie Gollard from Tennessee, right? 1983. Willie Gollard, wide receiver of Tennessee.
Well, Willie Gollard, wide receiver, he was never with Tennessee.
Went to the University of Tennessee first round.
Yeah, ran track. I mean, yeah, there was the Bears and the Raiders. And it's funny. I just saw a special on the speed guys in the NFL. I don't know, it was a Peyton's Place, and he was on it from season 4. And it's funny that Galt is not in the Hall of Fame. Dude was fucking ridiculously fast. I mean, he was a track athlete. Like, he was a sprinter. The Bears were like, just run, the ball be in the air, and you'll be 5 steps ahead of the guy, and he was. I mean, Jesus, Willie Galt was something. I love his signature too. He's got a great signature. I got a jersey and a helmet for Willie. Speedy Willie.
Who's that? What jersey do you have?
Well, signed, I got a Galt, Urlacher, a Mac, and a Fields. The Mac, the Galt, and the Urlacher on the wall. The Fields is just in a plastic bag in a case. But then I also have a Willie Galt helmet signed as well.
Is it weird that all 3 of us have memorabilia of our favorite teams on the wall? I mean, Ken's got the Bears, Adam's got the Steelers, and then I have Jags memorabilia on the wall.
Well, I mean, you should.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything on the wall. I have all the jerseys behind me.
I mean, you should have memorabilia. I mean, I've got helmets, jerseys, pictures, not just of the Bears. I got some Blackhawks and Cubs stuff up as well, and I have very few Cubs things, but mostly in here it's mostly Bears and Blackhawks. I got a couple Cubs things. I got some Chicago Stings stuff from back in the day. Yeah, there are no White Sox stuff here for a reason, even though I do have a Wells jersey.
What about your Chicago? What about Chicago Fire, Ken? Where's your Fire?
You know what's funny? I have a Chicago Fire jersey from the inaugural season. I do have that. But no, I'm more of an Orlando City guy because I went to the first game in Orlando for Orlando City. So I'm more of an Orlando City guy than I am a Chicago Fire guy in a way. Um, and look, by the time Chicago Fire got Chicago, I was long out of the city. I was already. I think when we got the fire, where was I? Fort Campbell? No, I was somewhere else. I
Do you
was
remember?
Missouri at the time, I think. So,
You
well,
remember?
I didn't grow up with the fire. I grew up with the Chicago Sting.
Was that the
Would
indoor team?
that would
Yeah,
that
they
be?
were NASL and MISL. But in 1981, I went to Toronto and watched the Chicago Sting play the New York Cosmos in Soccer Bowl '81, and they won it in penalty kick and on penalty kicks. They won the title on penalty kicks, and then we stormed the field. And then I was hanging out with the players the next day. And then the guy who scored the game-winning goal for the Sting lived like a couple blocks from me, so I was hanging out at his house a couple days later.
Nice.
Yeah.
By the way, Ken, do you remember the craziest game ever to be played at Wrigley Field? And you're going to think I'm nuts.
I've been to a couple, so tell me which one you think it is.
1979, Phillies 23, Cubs 22.
Yeah, I wasn't at that one. I was old enough to be at that one, but I wasn't.
Nobody was. And Adam, you might be able to remember this one involving the Pirates. Do you remember the game where I think it was Greg Brown, the Pine broadcaster, said, if the Phillies come back to win this game, I'll walk home.
That wasn't Greg Brown.
Or somebody.
That was Jim Rooker. He said, if the Pirates lose this game, I will walk home from Philly. And they were down by 11, and I think they came back and won 13-12 or something.
I've seen some great Cubs come back. I mean, there have been some other great Cubs come back. Look, you watch a team long enough, there are going to be some comeback games.
Yeah, Jim.
I mean, I watched the one today where the Pirates were down 7 going into the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah.
And they tanked off of, and Wagner tanked. Brian Giles hit that grand slam to win it.
Yeah, you watch any team long enough, you're going to see some great comebacks at some point. Even the White Sox.
They won the World Series. I mean, it's not like they haven't won the
Did
World
they
Series.
really? They
in
played the Astros. Come on. Did they really win the World Series?
I mean, I still feel they only won that World Series because the Astros weren't allowed to play with the roof closed.
Yeah, maybe.
By the way, how about this? Jim Wilkins started Game 5 of the '79 World Series.
Yes, he did.
Against Mike Flanagan, who won the Cy Young that year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Like, this is a good. I mean, is there ever a bad time to be a sports fan? I guess, but I mean, I'm digging what's going on with Chicago sports right now. It's harder for me. Football, Bears are easy for me to follow because it's once a week. When it comes to baseball, hockey, it gets a little harder timeline. But what I loved yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw this, but PCA and Caleb Williams were at the Hawks game. And last night was also Jonathan Tave's first time back in Chicago as a player. So they did the video tribute thing, and he got, I swear, the standing ovation was so long, Tave started saying, guys, that's enough. That's enough. Please, we've got a game to play. They wouldn't let the dude sit down. And then all of a sudden they're playing the game, and all of a sudden there's loud cheering, like, what the hell's going on? And it's this Caleb Williams is on the Jumbotron. And he's clowning, having fun. And he's like, hey, check out who's next to me. And it was PCA from the Cubs. And the place went even crazier. And those two have been hanging out all for throughout the Bears season, the Cubs season. And Connor Bedard's been rocking the Caleb Williams jerseys and stuff like that. I love that in Chicago right now. You've got the stars of the game, of their team, all these young guys, and they're hanging out, forming a city bond. It reminds me back to like 06, 07, 2010, when the city of Chicago had this idea of one city, one goal. That was the ad campaign. It was the Cubs, the Blackhawks, the Bulls, and the Bears. One city, one goal. And just about one city, we want championships. And look, during that time period, Bears went to a Super Bowl. The Blackhawks won 3. Coming at the end of it, in 16, you get the Cubs with the World Series. I think it's great in sports when we start seeing stuff like that. And seeing those guys sit in front row ice of a Blackhawks game yesterday, a Cubs player and a Bears player hanging out in the their offseason supporting another Chicago franchise. I thought that was awesome. I think we need to see that more. And sports not get it. Like, who's Jordan Love going to go watch? The Cow Tippers of Green Bay? I mean, maybe like Aaron Rodgers just go to Bucks games. Well, he bought part of the Bucks. But I like to see, like Mahomes. He bought the NWSL soccer team with his wife, and he goes to can't. He is seen at Royals games every so often. I like to see that kind of cross contamination, if you will.
Commodity.
Yeah, I think it's great. And Caleb Williams caught some Bears fans were mad that Caleb was at the game last night. And it's like, the Bears season's over. What do you expect him to do? Yes, they lost the game yesterday. What is he supposed to be in the basement of his mansion with all the lights turned off and be like in a ayahuasca retreat for 3 months or something?
Bill Belichick was at NBA games during Super Bowl week.
Yeah. I mean, that's a difference. So I think in Chicago,
you still got to live your life. I mean,
you're right, Adam. You're 100%. You know what I love about that, though, Adam, is that he got huge applause and cheers from the Hawks fans yesterday, and no one's trying to throw Caleb or Ben Johnson or the bus because of the loss. Most Bears fans get it. We weren't supposed to be there. We overachieved. We won the division. We won a playoff game. We played probably the best game of divisional round weekend, in terms of the game itself. The other overtime game was pretty good too, actually. But they had a great season, and this is different. Chicago. No one's playing some people are going a little hard at DJ Moore, but I'm not. I get it. It was more of a go route, and Caleb on the flatten, and they didn't. The communication didn't happen. Dude, that's they're human. We're not zero defect. I get it. I'm not mad at Kate. DJ has done so many great things for the Bears this season, and even in that game, I ain't mad at any of them. I love to see that reaction.
He hit a touchdown in Sunday's game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he was the dagger in the last 2 Green Bay games. So Bears offseason is looking good. We still got some playoff to play. These head coaching firings, though, it's like I did not see the Bills firing McDermott. I'm sorry.
Speaking of head coaching, for the remaining jobs, because we know the Giants have found their head coach,
right.
The Titans have found their head coach, the Dolphins have found their head coach.
Yep.
Am I missing it? Falcons. Who would be? I'm going to name the other 6 teams that have yet to find coaches, and think of a name. Think of a guy who could be interesting or maybe ends up getting the job. The Las Vegas Raiders.
McDermott. Right off the rip. I think McDermott, isn't he the biggest name out there right now?
Probably. But who knows?
Yeah, I'm definitely saying McDermott. McDermott's going to be number 1 on the list for all these jobs right now.
Concur.
Yeah. But I'll say McDermott because of what Dylan said earlier too. For him, I think that's the most attractive because not only is he getting the number 1 pick, he's got $100 million in cap money, and you've got Max Crosby.
And play the Bills next year.
And you've got Brock Bowers, and you've got a pretty good young running back they just drafted last year. So you're gonna have the number 1 pick overall, which is gonna be the quarterback. You've got a good tight end, a good running back, and Max Crosby, and $100 million. Yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens.
But then you still have to put up with Davis.
And Tom Brady.
Another reason why I think it's McDermott. I think they would both. I think Brady respects him, and Davis really is not like his dad, but he's actually a real good guy. And once again, Joe's actually met him a few times. I think he's a good guy. I think that job is But the Ravens, surprisingly enough, Matt Nagy.
I don't really know who I don't know. I hope a robot. That way it makes it entertaining in the NFC, in the AFC North.
I think Nagy or Dable might be considerations for them because they're offensive-minded head coaches. And it would be ironic if it's Dable because it's almost like they just traded coaches, right? At that point. But, yeah. And I don't know if is McCarthy wanting to coach again? I guess he's taking interviews. So, a year off, maybe McCarthy.
Maybe.
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea where these coaches are going.
Okay. Okay. Cleveland.
Prime time. Deion Sanders, the coach's kid.
Yeah. Cliff Kingsbury. He's an offensive-minded coach that might do well there.
I'm gonna
Kingsbury.
shock you. I think Frank Udinski, the Jaguars OC, could be the head coach.
That's a weird thing about that. I mean, look at first off, there's a shitload of OC and DC openings right now too. It wouldn't surprise me if one or two of these jobs go to an OC we're not thinking about. Like, who thought my doppelganger would have get the job in Jacksonville last year at this point?
I'll tell you this. I mean, if we had kept all Trent Baalke, we don't get the Jags do not get Liam Cohen.
But no one was even talking about Liam Cohen going anywhere last year. And next year, all of a sudden, the Jags hire Liam Cohen, and everyone's like, "Who? What? What? No one was even talking." I would not be surprised if there's a OC or two out there, or DC or two out there, that are going to get a job that we're not even tracking.
Yeah,
I
who
don't
knows?
think this is the year we're going to see a guy come up from the college ranks as a head coach because there are so many good head coaches available with NFL experience and OCs and DCs that if guys are coming up from college, they're going to OC DC slots.
I think Jesse Minter could end up with the Raven gig.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Nagy's interesting though, and so is Dable because they're offensive minded. And I think they could do some things with Lamar.
What about Arizona?
Whoever can't get a job anywhere else and just wants a job.
Coach Trey McBride, right?
I mean, that's got to be of all the teams, that has to be the one that's got to be lowest on the destination list for these guys.
Very difficult division.
Well, not just that, but like that. I mean, you're stuck with Kyle Murray
And a crappy owner.
Yeah, that's this year's Saints job, right? Because the Saints job last year was like the job no one wanted, right? And you could say maybe the Jets a little bit, but really, when we all looked there and said no one wanted to go to NOLA, I think no one wants to go to Arizona. But hey, if you want to become a head coach in the NFL to say you're a head coach, you'll take the job.
Put your kids in a boarding school.
Pretty much. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's beautiful out there. I mean, it's a beautiful area.
I have a lot of friends. Well, I have a few friends in the Phoenix Glendale area.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my old music teacher from elementary school. I still talk to her. She lives out there. In fact, we went to the Grand Canyon a couple years. Went and visited her. My buddy Cam, who you guys will see comment on the morning show and the Bear Show all the time, and we played a video game together online. He lives out there. I mean, there's some people out there. It's a nice area to live, but I don't think that's a good organization to coach for.
No.
I like Phoenix. I had fun in Phoenix.
Cost of living in Phoenix is something else. But people really got to basically truck everything in.
Hopefully, Arizona gets a new governor because that would help things.
But, I mean, honestly, the politics of a state doesn't affect the coaching decision whether to go there or not.
Louisiana State University, when the governor tried to get involved.
That's university. That's different. With NFL, it doesn't make a difference. With the university, look at like for FSU, Ron DeSantis can do whatever he wants at FSU because it's a state university. The governors can do stuff at state university. If a governor wants a head coach fired, he can have a head coach fired. It's his university or hers. So,
guys, I'm not trying to cut this short. I got about 5 minutes before I got to get off.
One more question, and then we'll probably be done.
It's freezing. It's freezing, and this weather is just kicking my ass.
I know. And Nashville could get 2 feet of snow this weekend. So
hey, it was Florida cold today. I wore socks with my slip slide on.
I actually put on a hoodie taking out the dog just now. But one more thing, guys.
3 thermals, a sweatshirt, two thermal underwear.
Wait, you ready for this one? Hey, Dylan, how many thermals do you own?
More than you.
I doubt that. I've got a full cache from the Army that I still have, all the polypropylene and all that. But yeah, like I haven't worn them up here at all. So it's like, all right, what's the question, Dylan?
Are you guys reading any books right now?
Dude, I'm lucky to get on a podcast right now.
Yeah, no, Dylan, I'm not. I'm at that point where I'm trying to stay caught up with my TV shows and movies. I got a backlog of movies to watch and a backlog. I mean, I've caught up with my TV shows. I have a backlog. I love movies, so always have. I got a backlog of movies to watch. So yeah, I've been kind of busy with that and then watching games and doing podcasts and playing with the grandbaby. And so yeah, books have not been my thing lately. However, I have watched some good movies lately. Because I've been catching up on some movies. You know what's funny? We'll binge watch a TV show. We'll watch a whole season. Oh, the new season of WWE Unreal just dropped today, by the way. Like we'll binge watch like an entire season of a Landman, right? Because they're only hour shows.
What?
When it comes time to watch a movie, we don't want to invest an hour and a half to 2 hours in a movie, but we'll invest 8 hours to binge watch a TV show. I just watched Rental Family, which is the Brendan Fraser movie based in Japan. Dude, really good movie. Like I don't know what's with these Brendan Fraser comeback movies, but it was actually pretty darn good. I watched David Bowie, The Final Act documentary last night. It was really good. So yeah, I've been kind of picking off some movies and documentaries and TV shows. So tonight, obviously, I'm going to watch the next 6 episodes of Unreal. Did they drop the whole season today? They dropped 5 episodes, so I'll binge watch the whole season today. So yeah, I've been kind of.
I think there's something more about binge watching versus watching a movie.
It is. Well, I think part of it, though, you go, oh, it's only 46-minute episode, no big deal. And, oh, you watch 8 of them. But then when you look at a movie, it's like, oh, it's an hour and 48 minutes long.
Like in a movie, everything's crammed together for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
When you're binge watching, you know that the show is going to go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like the old CSI episodes. You could watch those CSI episodes and not get bored.
I could watch Vegas. I had trouble watching New York.
Yeah, I like the original.
The OG CSI.
Like I've got The Rip I need to watch. I got
Miami
2 I need to watch. Trap House I need to watch that. The Song Sung Blues looks good. Blue, that's the one with Hugh Jackman where they're like a Neil Diamond cover band with him and Kate Hudson. I need to have that one on my list. Christie, which is the Sydney Sweeney boxing movies on my list on my queue. I got a lot of movies in my queue right now. It's just like be like, oh, it's an hour and a half, an hour 45, and you're just like, oh, well, I got 3 hours before bed now. It's okay. I'll just binge watch 5 hours of TV shows instead.
Right.
Well, I don't necessarily binge watch Netflix or Prime or whatever you guys do, but I do have ample reading material, and you guys probably know where I stand. I've got 3 books. I'm mostly through one, and then I can't wait to read the other one. This is the book that I'm reading right now
Under Siege.
by Eric Trump. And then and then afterward I'm going to read this book, the MAGA Doctrine by Charlie Kirk. And then and yes, I did buy this book during the holidays.
Well, I like to say it's great that you're buying hardcover books and still buying books. I used to buy a lot, and I've got some books on my bookshelf I still yet to read. I used to read a lot. I used to read a lot of Tom Clancy. I used to read The Greatest Generation. What a great book by Tom Brokaw. I read Phil Jackson's book. I read both of Dennis Rodman's books, which were very entertaining. I read Black Hawk Down. I used to just read all kinds of different stuff, and yeah, I just kind of got to a point where time became an issue, and I started watching shit.
I always have a problem with reading books. I need the Kindle because it stops it from going all the way across. Like my problem was I would always read and just keep reading. And then I would go all the way back to the other page and be like, wait, what the hell is going on here?
What I hate is when I read
I'm sure there's a condition for it. I just call it.
I used to read Michael Crichton and stuff like that back in the day. But when I read Battlefield Earth, let me tell you something. When I read Battlefield Earth, and I read that book, and Dylan, I don't know if you've read Battlefield Earth yet. The movie was a terrible adaptation of it. They basically tried to cram 2/3 of that book into like a 2-hour movie. They crammed 800 pages of book into a 2-hour movie. Terrible. But when I read Battlefield Earth, I got to about page 800, and the story, there was a story turn, and I got so pissed off, I wanted to burn the book. Instead, I finished reading the book, and it was a phenomenal end of story. But I used to read big books like that, and Tom Clancy, some Tom Clancy books were just monster. I used to read a lot of Tom Clancy back when he was writing, of course, and John Grisham and those guys. But yeah, at some point I just stopped buying books. I used to read a lot of alternate history, like Newt Gingrich wrote some good alternate history. What's the other guy? He wrote nothing. He writes nothing but he wrote Guns of the South. I read almost all his books.
Bill O'Reilly?
No, not O'Reilly. This guy does alternate history. I've read some Bill O'Reilly stuff. The alternate history stuff too. What's the guy's name? Oh God.
Brett Bayer?
What now?
Brett Bayer?
No, he's not a political guy. He's just an author. He writes.
Wait. What was his title?
I think Guns of the South was a Civil War one that he did. Civil War anthology he did that was alternate history. And he did another.
Harry Turtledove.
Turtledove. Yeah, I've read so much Harry Turtledove. I probably have read 20 or 30 of his books. I mean, I love alternate history. Turtledove was a great read too. And he's had some. But Newt Gingrich has written some great alternate history stuff. I like alternate history too. So I don't really read too many political books, but then I read Tom Brokaw's The Greatest Generation is a phenomenal read about the guys from World War II. That book came out when he came out that book maybe right after Band of Brothers came out on HBO. I mean, it was perfect timing. It was a great book.
Wasn't he over there when the Berlin Wall came down?
Brokaw, yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was there for the wall.
Brokaw's was at NBC for 50-something years.
Yeah, Brokaw, he was a great journalist until the end of his career when he became, where he's he was at the end of his career fuck it, I'm just going to be opinionated. And he stopped being a journalist and started being commentary. But he was a great, him and Dan Rather were who I grew up with on the evening news, right? In fact, Dan Rather, I remember when he started out as a Chicago news anchor on the local CBS station in Chicago. And I used to watch Dan Rather. And
hey, Ken, do you remember who was the guy on NBC? Not Brokaw, but the other guy.
On NBC?
No, the other guy on NBC.
Peter Jennings was ABC.
The guy with the glasses, and I think he was and I think he was in Chicago. I can't think of his name.
They did the national news.
Yeah, the guy before Tom Lamas or whatever his name is.
Well, you had Lester Holt. He was from
Yeah,
Chicago.
Lester Holt. I remember
Yeah.
Lester Holt in Chicago.
Yeah, I do too. And his son's in Chicago. Was in Chicago on the news there. He followed in his father's footsteps and was an anchor on the same station as his dad was. Yep, I remember when Lester Holt started in Chicago too. As a matter of fact.
In fact,
but that's back in the day where those guys, you'd have the whole news and then have a 4-minute segment at the end. They'd have like an opinion piece, right? Walter Jacobson was the guy for CBS Chicago, and he would have like a commentary piece at the end of the news. That's when they would do commentary. Now, when you watch news, it's all commentary. So it's like I still watch Chicago news on Sundays because after the Sunday Night Football in America, I keep it on the local Chicago news channel. And I watch Chicago news because then they do the Bears football show afterwards. And I have a hard time watching news because it's all commentary.
I'll tell you right now, as a journalist myself, I'm embarrassed with what's being shown. 90% of it's national news, not all local news.
Well, even that, it's all narratives. It's all cut and pasted the way they want to tell whatever story they want. They never show you the full thing. Like I look at a headline from Fox News Chicago, and then I look at the whole video and, wait, you gave me a headline based off a 3-second clip, but you didn't show the 5 seconds before why the person got arrested or whatever it was. It's like everyone's political, has a political aim now. It's like, I hate that. Like the news used to be, here's what happened, straight up, here's what happened, and they didn't commentate and tell you what they thought or what. No, here's what happened. The authorities charged them. The authorities didn't charge them, whatever. There was no anything. Now they spoon feed it to you like you're a moron and can't decipher the video yourself. They have to tell you what to believe on all levels of news. And when we saw the video from Elon, where Elon did the thing where we here at Channel 4 believe, and then they start the spiel, and it's also there's 50 news anchors all saying the exact same thing verbatim across the country.
And sometimes I want to throw my iPad at the TV. I'm like, we know what's happening. Like, shut up.
The only thing local news is good for now, and I don't know. Do you watch WESH? I loved WESH News when I was in the Orlando area. For hurricanes, I always watched WESH News because they're reporters. And they used to find just the funniest damn people on the news. But that's the only thing when it's like a local event, like hurricane comes through or something like that. That's the only thing that local news is good for, but everything else is just complete garbage.
And half these people, and most of these people have never been through a major hurricane. And by the way, I'm gonna leave it until we're all fair. But I've got a big spiel about one of our local meteorologists here in Southwest Florida, and trust me, if you were around the Twitter sphere a week or two ago, Ken, especially here in Florida. I don't know how many meteorologists you know, but this story became spicier.
The only meteorologist I watch online is the dude from Texas who takes songs and integrates them into his. I don't know if you've seen this guy, Adam. Like some guy will say, "Hey, Metallica, Enter Sandman." He's like, "Challenge accepted," and then when he does the forecast, he integrates the lyrics of whatever song from the challenge into the forecast. And it's brilliant. And this guy's done everything from Baby's Got Back to Enter Sandman to country songs. Like he takes on some songs like how the hell is he gonna get lyrics from these songs into the forecast? And he does. I watch it. It's brilliant.
Well, Ken, the thunder rolls.
Oh yeah, that was an easy one.
Strikes.
Yeah, that's an easy one from him. But he's done some songs you're like, how the hell are you gonna get lyrics from that song into the
Where's this guy at? Orlando?
No, he's out of Texas. I can't remember his name, but I saw him on Facebook Reels. I've seen him on people repost him on X. But if you put like Texas weatherman who puts pop music in forecast, it'll pop up probably if you do a search. The dude's he's good. He's done songs like Waterfalls, Creep. I mean, all kinds of songs. songs you wouldn't even think he knows, and he gets lyrics and then classic rock. And he did Ozzy Osbourne one day. And you're like, really? You got Crazy Train into the weather report?
I need to have him. I need to have him for the next hurricane season.
Well, hey boys, it's been a fun Tuesday night. I know, Adam, you gotta get some rest because you're still getting dogged out.
All
It's
right.
been like what, 5 months and you're not used to this job yet, dude? What the hell?
Apparently, this is a weatherman thing because this guy does it in Virginia too.
Yeah, the guy in Texas is the guy who started it. I'm sure they're copycat.
Oh, okay. So, for Ken, for Adam, and everybody, and everybody watching us, this is the Big D. Dylan signing off. Open Spokes Mike. We will be back soon. We will be back with more content. Good luck to the Rams, Seahawks, Broncos, and Patriots on Championship Sunday. So long for now.